Your hands hurt. Just.
Good day to you. I'm Phil O'Tayley, and you are watching the O'Tayley Factor. Today we have 5 great gentlemen among us. Thomas Hobbes, who is probably one of the most famous political philosophers of the 17th century. These are Enlightenment figures whose works and ideas influenced thinkers of both the American and French Revolution. How are you men doing today? Hello, Phil. I am doing rather fine today. And you? I'm good. The other gentlemen visiting us today are Voltaire, who is literary genius, Rousseau, who believes that man is essentially good, John Locke, who argues against the exercise of any governmental effort to promote or to restrict particular religious beliefs or practices, and Montesquieu, who believes that all things are made up of rules or laws that never change. How are you fine men?
I'm fine and pleased to be here.
I too am pleased to be here among all these great philosophies. I'm doing well and thank you for the invite.
I am just fine and grateful to be here.
You are all great philosophies, and I am pleased to have you here today. So let's get to the topic at hand. What do you believe on the nature of government? I am eager to hear all that you men have to say. So feel free to express yourselves and see all that is on your minds. Well, I believe that men in a state of nature, that is, a state without civil government, are in war all against all, in which life is hardly worth living. So do you believe in a social contract? And for those of you who do not know what it is the view that a person's moral and or political obligations are dependent upon a contract or agreement between them to form society. Yes, I do. Because the way out of this desperate state is to make a social contract and to establish the state to keep peace and order. With only a state of nature, everyone would decide for themselves how to act and is judge, jury, and executioner in their own case. Whenever disputes arise, I term this situation as a condition of mere nature. Okay, let's hear from you, John Locke.
I too believe in a social contract, but with it also comes the state of nature. I believe that the state of nature is a state of liberty where persons are free to pursue their own interests and plans. Wait, I forgot what to say. Okay. And plans free from interference, and it is not a condition of individuals.
I would have to disagree. That state of nature is a condition because men are naturally and exclusively self-interested. They are more or less equal to one another, and in my opinion, it would be brutal to live in the state of nature.
I somewhat agree with Locke. I believe the state of nature was a peaceful and quixotic time in which people lived solitary, uncomplicated lives. Their few needs were easily satisfied by nature. Because of the abundance of nature and the small size of the population, competition was non-existent. The persons rarely even saw one another, much less had reason for conflict or fear.
I'm glad to hear you speaking. So what do you think about a social contract?
I believe that is meant to provide the means by which to elevate the problems that modern society had created for us.
I believe that political authority and obligation are based on the individual self-interest of members of society who are understood to be equal to one another, with no single individual invested with any essential authority to rule over the rest, while at the same time maintaining the conservative position that the monarch, which he called the sovereign, must be ceded absolute authority if society is to survive. We have heard from Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Rousseau. Now let's hear from Voltaire. What do you believe the ideal government would be?
Well, I want individualism. I want people to be equal and to be born with equal rights. But I don't believe that a government like this would ever succeed because everyone would have never-ending power and there would be no structure. I want a government with a monarch king, no lords or serfs.
Well, I am assuming that your opinion will be troublesome, and it will bother many people, bringing you a lot of conflict. What about you, Montesquieu? Which is your ideal government?
The best government would be one in which power was abandoned among three groups of officials. I call this the separation of powers.
Why do you believe so?
I believe so because when the lawmaking and law enforcement powers are united in the same person, there can be no liberty. Each branch of government could limit the power of the other two branches. Therefore, no branch of the government could threaten the freedom of the people.
Montesquieu, do you have any comments in The State of Nature?
Yes, I do. I have one. I believe that in the state of nature, all men are born equal, but they cannot continue in this equality. Society makes them lose it, and they recover it only by protection of the law.
We have talked about the state of nature and heard many opinions on it. The state of nature definitely had to do with the nature of government, because it is the people who make up a government. It also played a role in the opinion of their ideal government. I was pleased to have you as a guest. This was the OT Elite Factor, and thank you for watching.
Special thanks to Mr. Craig for teaching Block D, Arlene Herrera, Rebecca
Sanchez,
Sanchez, and Alex.